Welcome to another edition of Africa Sideways, and we've got possibly the best minibus in the business on the market for under $1 million, I'd say. This is going to take a bit of beating. It's the new Ford Tourneo Custom, and this thing really is customizable. You've got various seat options at the back. You can have it executive style facing each other. You can face the seats forward. In my opinion, after putting 3,500 Ks on this vehicle, I would say this is the ultimate road trip vehicle if you've got a family or a lot of buddies you want to take on the road. It's got a massive boot space with all the seats in operation. You can easily fit everything in and still have your 7 seats in the game. Lovely gearbox, smooth gear changes, doesn't get found looking for gears. The 2-liter turbo engine on this is really good. It's economical. I was driving frugally. Well, not frugally, I was averaging about 100, 120, and I got 9.4 liters per 100. On the way back, I was like a horse that wanted to go home, and I got 10.2. So I was highly impressed with the fuel economy, that you can give it a bit of stab and it doesn't hit you in the pocket. I find with the bi-turbo Ford engines, as soon as you start going a little bit too frenetic, it hits you on the fuel. And this, I couldn't literally get it over 10.2 liters per 100 Ks. With such a big bus, into the wind a lot of the time, it really is a fantastic vehicle. Nice high sitting position. You can see what's going on. You can see over the smaller cars. They certainly have got you covered with this vehicle, Ford. This for me is one of the best Fords that I've seen in the last 10 years. This thing's going to bang. I'm seeing a lot more of them on the road, and for good reason. Air conditioning for all the rear passengers. They got some individual vents there. Stellar sound system. Stellar sound system. Bit of Robert Nesta Marley. Ultimate road trip vehicle, the new Ford Tourneo. So basically, I went Cape Town, spent a night in Crawfordnet at my buddy Jason Mackey's farm in Crawfordnet. Very good people at Shepherd Tree, you guys, which is a banging establishment. And then from there we headed up to Centurion, which is near Pretoria, another 9-hour drive. Went past Parys, which is a nice little town, through the Free State, and the truck just kept on going. 80-liter fuel tank, so you can get good range. If you're averaging 120, you can get over 700 Ks off a tank, probably 800 Ks if you on an economy run, which is really good for such a big truck. You know, I've been a 4x4, 7-seater SUV guy for a couple of years now, and this is really takes you to the dark side in a minibus, because you've got so much space. The kids love it. They moan a hell of a lot less. I think Ford, if you're listening, I've got an idea. Let's have a little chat. This could be the ultimate Overland vehicle. So what would be nice is if this came out with a Ranger 4-wheel drive system and rear diff. It doesn't need the low range, but the 4-wheel drive and the rear diff, and adjustable, put the Raptor suspension on, or a more, give it a bit of a lift, 2-inch lift. Maybe you wouldn't want too much, maybe an inch lift, and some BF Goodrich tires or something like that. And this could really do something. I mean, at the moment it's got about 200 mils of clearance, which is quite good in overlanding terms. So, and it's a solid body on frame. So I really think that this has got a lot of potential in that particular department. extremely good turning circle, as you would expect on a minibus. It does take a bit of getting used to the length of the car. When you're overtaking, you're coming back in. It's like being a skipper of a big boat. You got to know the length of your vehicle. But at first, the body roll took a bit of getting used to. But it's like anything. I like driving big cars with a bit of body roll. It's exciting, and this thing, once you get used to it, it's very manageable on the highway. You can give it a bit of wheelie and it's going to be there for you, or you can just give it a sensible little cruise. It's got you covered all ends up. So this is about 750,000 Rand for this one. Let's get into the things I don't like. There's not many, and it's a bit nitpicky, and they're not really important things in my mind. But let me just go through it. First off, for 750,000 Rand, I would have expected them to put the Ranger, I think it's a Sync 3 LCD screen with a sat nav and the whole trick. I mean, I've driven 600,000 Rand Raptors, Rangers, which have the GPS. This doesn't have the GPS. It's got the LCD screen. It looks like it's taken from a Focus or something like that. So I think for a big people carrier where people are going to be doing long distance trips, it makes sense to have the proper sat nav in here. That's a minor thing. A lot of people these days are just using their phone for sat nav. But I was a little bit surprised at the price tag to not have sat nav. I had the same thing in the Hyundai H6. Anyway, other than that, anything else I don't like? The beeping, it doesn't really beep that much. The one thing about the trip computer is if you're driving a little bit fast and then slow down, it takes a while to figure out that you slow down again, so it'll start dropping your range quite rapidly. So don't get alarmed if your expected fuel range suddenly drops. You don't have it. At first I thought, is there a leak? Is there something wrong? And I was in the middle of nowhere. But thankfully there was nothing wrong, and it's just the trip computer takes a little while to realize that you've changed your driving style and you're wondering why it's still going down. But on the highway, as you can see, it just ambles along. Not a care in the world. Extremely good on the highway. You could comfortably cruise at 120, 130, and it just sits planted to the road. Anything over 140 and it starts getting a little bit out of shape if you don't know what you're doing. So don't be in too much of a rush in the Tourneo, but it does have some wheels, no doubt about that. Don't fool yourself on that. So what's this up against, ladies and gentlemen? You've got the VW Kombi, which, putting this next to the Kombi looks quite small. This has got nice high ceilings. That's why I think it's going to be great for overlanding. You can take all these seats out and you've got a flat bed there, loads of space, good power, good engine. I mean, the engine's still relatively new, but it feels like a solid diesel engine, and it loves regular diesel. It can go all day long on it. And it's really just perfectly powered. I mean, sure, if you're going to go for the ultimate overland vehicle, you might want to put the 3.2 liter in here, but it doesn't feel underpowered. It's certainly not. It feels well powered. You can do good towing with this thing as well. But getting back to my point, I've always been an SUV guy, and this is a game changer. I think if you got kids and you like long distance driving, these minibuses take a lot of beating, and if they can add some off-road ability into this, like on the Sprinter van, you can get a four-wheel drive version, and I think on the upper end Caravelle you can get a 4Motion. So I think Ford have got a great product here. I want to see one with four-wheel drive and a rear diff, and that's going to sell like hotcakes, because it really does have an eye-catching look. It's got 17-inch rims. Another plus to Ford, a big plus to Ford on this one, is their tire choice and tire size. They've gone for a 17-inch alloy, which is perfect size, and they went for Michelin, one of the best tire companies in the world, which really does inspire confidence when you're on substandard roads, which you're going to find in South Africa. So I was very impressed with the handling of the tires, the choice of tire, and the size of tires. So thank you, Ford, for that. There's nothing worse than getting into a car that's got the ability for big miles on substandard roads, like your average SUV, but then they put a low profile, crappy tire on there that you just don't have confidence to go on gravel or go on some standard roads, because you're worried about bumping the rim or this, that, and the next thing. So all in all, fantastic vehicle. Ultimate road trip vehicle. It feels like driving in a Sprinter or a Vito here at a cheaper price, and definitely looks more bulky and manly than the VW Kombi. And the Haval H9 is good competition in this vehicle. The diesel especially, the petrol's a little bit thirsty, but the diesel at H9 is a good truck as well. So there's a lot of competition, but this thing is coming out swinging, and it's swinging for the fences, ladies and gentlemen, the new Tourneo. And I haven't done one of these. Well, I can't give it a 10 out of 10 because it doesn't have that Toyota reliability, but it's got good reliability. Ford have come a long way, so it doesn't get the 10 out of 10, but for the first time in a long time, the new Ford Tourneo Custom gets a 9.5 out of 10 on the Africa sideways rating. Okay, this little airspan will give a good insight into the handling here. Okay, we're coming into a sharp left. Whoa, you see, I've got the hang of it now. I've been driving it for a week. You just throw it into the corner and it just sits there. It goes all day long. Yeah, coming up to the S-bend. Donny Herbert down there. Whoa. There's a smidge of tower spill, but for such a big truck to get around the hairpin like that so easily. Hats off to Ford.